שימו לב, זו הרקטה הכי כבדה שמצאו של החמאס ב7 באוקטובר, רקטה לטווח תל אביב שנורית מעזה, כמובן. והנה האורח החדש במכון, הטיל קרקע האיראני הזה, טיל בליסטי, שבעצם עשה מסלול של 1,500 קילומטרים ב-12 דקות. תשימו לב באמת לאורך, לגודל שלו, יותר מ-11 מטרים של טיל, כאשר מה שאתם רואים כאן זה כמובן בלי המנוע, וכמובן בלי החלק הכי חשוב מבחינת האיראנים, הלא הוא הראש הקרבי, ראש הנפץ של הטיל שהיה כאן, וכמובן הטיל הזה הוא בלי ראש, כי הראש הלך בעירות של החץ.
The attack started with 170 drones launched from Iran towards Israel. An hour later, the UAVs were joined by over 30 cruise missiles that can reach Israel in just over an hour. Finally, over 120 ballistic missiles, which take just between 10 and 15 minutes to arrive. At the same time, drone attacks were launched by the Houthis in Yemen and Iran-backed militias in Iraq, while Hezbollah fired missiles at Israeli positions in the Golan Heights. But Israel's missile defense systems, plus a combined air effort from Israel, the US, the UK, France and Jordan, meant none of the drones or cruise missiles even reached Israeli airspace, with the majority intercepted over Iraq and Syria, like the remnants of this missile found in northern Iraq. Those missiles that made it past the Allied Air Force efforts faced a three-tier defense system. First up, the long-range Arrow system. It was designed specifically with Iranian missiles in mind. Each of these systems' rockets costs a few $1 million each. They can intercept missiles outside the Earth's atmosphere, resulting in these distinctive purple explosions seen on Saturday. The second layer of defense, the so-called David Sling system, is for taking out missiles and drones. And finally, the Iron Dome, which stops most short-range rocket attacks. Israel said that the systems combined meant that 99% of last Saturday's attack was intercepted. But some of Iran's ballistic missiles did get through. The ones that did show that one of the targets of the attack was the Nevatim air base in southern Israel. That's where Israel keeps its fleet of F-35 jets. Israel says the damage to the base was minimal and didn't affect the runway.
I would like to read over a letter written by Maximilian Abitbol, a professor of physics who is also an expert in the defense industry, and he had this to say about the events of the evening of April 13th. This is a must listen. I wanted to share something that is much more than a feeling, something that comes from a real calculation. What happened in Israel on Saturday night was not less than the scale of the splitting of the Red Sea. I am a professor of physics, and I worked for several years in the defense industry in Israel in projects that are still the cutting-edge technologies of the defense of the state of Israel. When I look at what happened on Saturday night on a scientific level, it simply cannot happen. Statistically, the likelihood that everything, but really everything, works out does not exist in complex systems like the defense systems that were used to defend Israel from the massive Iranian attack. These systems have never, but never, not only in the state of Israel, been tried in real time. I took a pencil and dived into the calculations to check the statistical probability that such a result would materialize. The large number of events that had to be handled when each missile or UAV is handled independently, that is, human error or some deviation of one operation is not offset by other successful operations, compounds the chance of making a mistake. With all the high technologies, a breach was expected in the defense of the skies of the state of Israel. Even if we got 90% protection, it would have been a miracle. What happened is that everyone, the pilots, the system operators, and the technology operators acted as one man, at one moment, in total unity. If this is not an act of God, then I no longer know what a miracle is. It is greater than the victory of the Six-Day War or the War of Independence. Those wars can also be explained through natural events, but the rescue that took place for the people of Israel on Saturday night is simply impossible naturally. I believe that this miracle saved the lives of many people in Israel. If the defense system had failed to intercept a number of cruise missiles, the result would have dragged us into a very complex war. I wouldn't bet that next time it will work like this without divine supervision. The simple proof of what I said is that the managers of the defense industries who develop and manufacture these systems guarantee no more than 90% success. And we all saw, with our own eyes, 99.9%. Thank you, God.